Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Croccast podcast. I'm your host, Nate, and today I'm joined by Mr. Jimmy Riffles, uh, one of the co-hosts of the Old Animal Planet show, Gator Boys. Jimmy, welcome to the
Hey,
show.
thank you, man. I appreciate it. How you doing today?
I'm doing good, and you?
I'm doing okay. Hanging in there. Enjoying my Sunday. So,
So, you want to get us started on how you first got into reptiles and how your career with reptiles has gone?
yeah. So basically, I started volunteering at a small wildlife park called the Native Village that was located in Hollywood, Florida, which no longer is there. It was a small park where allowed volunteers to come in or employees to start learning about some native and exotic animals. And I was 10 turning 11, I believe, or 11 turning 12. And my parents went in to see if they could find some old animal bones and stuff because I was always interested in like cleaning my own bones and putting things together. And uh, my mom gave me an old alligator head that the owner gave me for my birthday. And I basically started volunteering the day after that. And that's where it all started. And, I didn't go in there thinking I was going to wrestle alligators or have hands on with stuff like that. I just wanted to be around, the wildlife. And it escalated into from cleaning poop and cleaning bathrooms to catching small alligators for people to touch and hold and, educational talks and lectures. And it just turned into something that a passion of mine that, I just love doing.
So, after that internship with that your first internship, what was the next thing you did?
So basically at Native Village, like I said, I was there from about 11, 12 years old till I was about 20, I think it was 24, 25 years old. So I spent most of my young life into my, you know, young mid adulthood. And from there, that's where I met Paul, my co-host, co-partner on Gator Boys. And we were friends for a very long time before the show Gator Boys. And I traveled, did road shows, educational stuff with reptiles. And Paul and I decided that it would have been pretty cool to, pitch around, a couple guys that, caught animals and worked with wildlife and see if they were interested in that. And for many years, we shopped around, we signed agreements with people that went nowhere. And I think it was almost 8 years it took. And we basically just said, screw it, we're done with it. We'll just keep doing what we're doing. And a network got in, contact with us and talked to us a little bit about, what they were interested in. And we signed contracts like 2 weeks after that. So, and then that's how Gator Boys was born on Animal Planet. So,
Uh, so what was it like having your own TV show?
uh, it had its ups and downs. I mean, it was more positive than negatives, of course. Our producers told us that this is going to change our lives, which, me growing up in South Florida, just this little guy just learned about animals, didn't expect for that to happen. And it did. One of the first stories that I can think of is I was in Walmart one night and somebody kept following me around and it was freaking me out and it didn't click about the TV show. And I'm like, dude, what's your problem? And he's like, oh, I just wanted to, I love your show, and I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Took pictures with him. And from that point on, it was like, I couldn't believe that, kids coming up to us and telling me, that I'm their hero and they look up to us. I never thought in a million years that something like that would happen. And that's probably the most powerful thing that happened out of having our TV show, besides, getting the message out there about, alligators aren't these man eaters, was the position that we got to fulfill for especially the younger, you know, kids, and they dressed up as us for Halloween, and they sent us photos. It was surreal that this was happening, and but it, like I said, it was a blessing, which was pretty cool.
So For those that haven't watched the show, do you want to talk a little bit about what all you did
Yeah.
on
Yep.
Gator Boys?
Yeah, so Gator Boys, Paul and I, Paul was the licensed trapper. I was an agent under Paul. I did not go out and trap alligators by myself. I had to be there with Paul. Paul is still doing that to this day, trapping alligators, keeping the rescue going. I run the rescue in my own way where I take alligators in from trappers and I give them a home here at my facility that I'm working on. But Gator Boys, the film crew followed us around. We ran a non-kill alligator rescue where we went into people's backyards, places alligators turned up where they shouldn't have been or they should have been, but we moved into their area. And, these alligators were deemed a nuisance. And we went in and caught these animals, these alligators out. And we donated them to other zoos or sanctuaries where they lived out the most of their life there, unless they went to another facility. Everglades Outpost was the main facility we donated alligators to in uh, Florida City, down in South Florida. And then the crew got bigger. All the people on the show, we were all friends, and basically we started expanding the group bigger. And my brother Andy, Scott, Trey, Ashley, Chris, Mike, Easter. I mean, there was a big group of us. Kayla, Sarah, my fiance. So they just followed us around and filmed what we were doing on a daily basis. And our daily lives with that, which was pretty interesting and pretty cool. And the show went big. The show became one of their top rated shows at the time. And yeah, it was definitely an experience that pretty cool to live. And we got to share our message on a national level. And it definitely, I've got a ton of emails, text messages, through social media platforms or what they call those DMs or something like that.
Yeah.
And, saying that, if it didn't have fur, we didn't like it. We thought alligators were those man eaters. And after we watched your show, we found a love for them, which that was our ultimate goal, was to be able for that message to out there where they're not those man eaters that everybody thinks they are. Have they injured and killed people? Yes. But do they go out of their way to do that? Absolutely not. It's a mistaken identity, wrong place, wrong time, in a sense.
Yeah. So, what would be your craziest alligator rescue story?
Man, there's so many of them. I'm trying to think. So we went and filmed in Mississippi for a season, and Mississippi was a whole different ball game for us. In Florida, we're dealing with our swamps and stuff, but Mississippi swamps are totally different than the Florida swamp. And we were uh, Curtis, one of the gentlemen that owned Gulf Coast Gator Ranch. Rest his soul. He passed away some years back. He There was something called floton, which was floating land, and it looked like hard ground. And the first time I ever got introduced to it, I jumped off of an airboat to go catch this alligator, and I just went right through it. And it was so crazy. I never thought in a million years. But we got into this, we got out of the floating land, and this gator, I went up, and it was just me and him in the mud, and he jumped up and was higher than my head. And I was able to catch him. He landed down in front of me. And it was one of the craziest catches for my, danger level for me. It was very high. And, the film crew had to film from the airboats, because they couldn't get into, where we were, where I was in the mud. And I was exhausted after that. Got him caught up, and we had a couple other guys from the show that was still on the airboats that was there as backup in case something were to happen. But of course, you don't see that on camera. And
Yeah.
they helped me get him in the boat. Not gonna lie, because I was exhausted, but it didn't seem that way. I did it all, and but yeah, it was that was probably one of the most sketchiest situations I've been in. But I mean, we've caught gators out of swimming pools, garages, under cars, places they turn up where, they shouldn't be. They just, it's rainy season or breeding season, and they start moving around. and they turn up, and we got the call or the permit in to go catch them. So
Yeah. So you mentioned a few times before that you're starting up your own facility. You want to go on that a little bit?
yeah, so back we moved to Tallahassee for a little while. We've always been looking, Sarah and I, for a place to build our little wildlife park. And when we went to Tallahassee, things didn't fit, there per se. So we ended up finding property in Ocala, Florida, just out of Silver Springs, which we did purchase. And we have been for the last about a year and a half, almost 2 years, we have been under construction, building a small scale reptile/animal wildlife park. And it's going to be by appointment only, but we are going to house housing a lot of different crocodilian species, which is, of course, my love. Crocodilians have always been my passion. Venomous, non-venomous snakes. We have some mammals. We're not doing anything high danger level mammals here just because of where we are. That's something that we decided not to do. But we do have what's called an African civet, an animal native to Africa, which you do see in the States, but it's not common. We have your normal Florida wildlife, possum, raccoon. We have a lemur. Our fox, unfortunately, passed away about a year ago. We had him for a very long time. But we have alligators, crocodiles, caimans. So we have tortoises, turtles. We're just working on getting this place open so people can come out and have an interactive facility and an educational place to come out and learn about these amazing animals.
Yeah. So if people want to find that park and schedule an appointment, where would they go to do that?
So right now we just officially got all of our county permits that were needed for us to open. So now we have to, I was trying to do bathrooms a different type of way, which isn't going to work. So now we're in the process of building bathrooms and our parking area. Once we get a few more things done, we're planning on maybe opening by the new year, or having another soft opening. We've had people out here before, but not, officially in that sense, but, yeah, we're trying to plan for January to have like a re-grand opening where everything is done and ready to rock and roll. But as of right now, we're not open, but you can go to scalestailsandteeth.com. And our website is back up and running. We've had it down for quite some time, adding the wildlife park to the website. So you can get on there and see some photos and see some of the facility enclosures. Right, like I said, right now it's a work in progress, planting all the plants, and we're constantly changing and improving different things that we've already built. But we're to the point now where we're just trying to maintain with what we have built at the facility. And we just got our gift shop delivered literally 3 days ago, which is going to be the gift shop / office when you come into the wildlife park. That's where everyone's going to come in and out. So we're working our butts off. We're heading that right direction, but it's just taken a lot more time. COVID really put a hurting on, all of us. So we're still recovering. We bought this facility right in the beginning of when COVID started. So it was a good time to buy, but a crappy time to building materials. And it still is to this day. So,
Yeah. So what are some of the other crocodilian species that you have at your facility at the moment?
So we house right now roughly about 54 American alligators, ranging from up to 12 and a half feet. A couple of these animals were animals that we caught on the show Gator Boys, so I do still have some of those alligators that I decided to keep for myself, and we have a couple animals that are on loan. We have broad-snouted caimans, which is a pretty cool animal that you don't get to see a lot on exhibits. Zoos have them, but a lot of times it's behind the scenes. Our broad-snouted caimans will be on exhibit. We do have some Siamese crocodiles. One of them is named Lee. She's absolutely amazing. She belongs to a real good friend of ours that, houses her here. We just take care of her. So, but you will be able to see her. Nile crocodiles. We have a young saltwater crocodile here that you'll be able to come out and check out and see and possibly even touch during the encounters. We have dwarf caimans. We have both. So we have the palpabrosus and the trigonotus. We have both of those species here, which is pretty cool. Um, Spectacle caimans, of course. I'm trying to think what else. But yeah, we have a lot of different species. Eventually I do plan on getting more croc species. But right now we're just, like I said, we're working on breeding. We're working on building a breeding pond, slash just larger pond to house more rescued alligators. And once we get that done, most of the alligators will move into the big pond, and those enclosures will be opened up for other crocodilian species. We're working on getting some more Let's crocodiles right now, um, and maybe some in the near future. Uh, Maybe a Chinese alligator, hopefully, but that's stuff in the works that hopefully we can work out sooner than later. But we'll see.
Nice. So, what kind of led you to uh, create your own wildlife park and the way you set it up?
Uh, you know, since I started working at the Native Village when I was very young, um, after being there for a few years, I think it just kind of fell in the right place. I just started feeling like this is where I belong and this is what I want to do. And most 13-year-olds, saying this is what I'm going to do when I get older. Everyone looks at you like you're crazy, that you don't know what you want to do. And here I am, 37 years old, and I am now about to fulfill the dream that I had from being a young kid. And this is something that we have tried to do in the past. It just didn't work out. The other, locations we tried this in. And, when I travel, because I travel and do educational reptile shows throughout the country still, we do gator demonstrations, gator wrestling. We have a reptile walkthrough exhibit that we set up at big fairs and festivals. And when we're on the road, we travel and we go to a lot of zoological parks around the country. I support zoological parks all around the country, and I believe in what they do and for the conservation of these animals and the breeding programs. And so I get to see a lot of ways that people build enclosures and setups that they do. Of course, being here, funds do limit what I'm able to do in the aspect of seeing these large AZA facilities. But I can try to mimic some of these as best as I can, with my capabilities. And we're just working on doing natural bog filters on some of that stuff. Trey actually lives up here in the Ocala area too, another guy from the show, and he he's been getting into breeding some turtles and stuff, but he's really big into the bog filters. So I think that's pretty cool. He's going to design these filters to where it filters our enclosures naturally, and it circulates the water. And so these are things that we have learned over time, and kind of what we learned at the facility we worked at, and we're just putting it all together and hoping that we can point this in the right direction.
Okay. Now, as someone whose dream goal is to have my own reptile park someday, do you have any advice for anyone looking to start one up?
Just if you have that goal or that want in life, all I can say, man, is don't give up on it. I can tell you from personal experience, I'm not there yet. I'm closest that I've ever have been, and it's not been easy. It's, I've dedicated my life to, you know, working around wildlife and doing my road shows, and I haven't done this by myself. I've had a lot of help along the way, a lot of people I consider family, that are friends, and they've put me in the right place at the right time, met the right people, and I have some of these animals because of them people. I would not have these animals if that's the case. So don't be afraid to ask for help, and don't be afraid to take that help, because I was that person. I never wanted that help. and and just stick with it. Eventually, it's going to happen. If it's something that if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. So.
Right. So, besides your park and gator rescues and all that stuff, do you do any like herping in your free time?
Yeah, I used to do a lot of herping back in the day. Where I'm at now, I'm not far from the Ocala National Forest, so we get to go out there cruising around the roads. We haven't done it much, but I've seen, some colubrids. Your red rat snakes, yellow rat snakes, pygmy rattlesnakes. We see quite a bit out there. Some moccasins in certain areas, but we haven't seen an eastern diamondback yet out there, which shocks me. Which my neighbors have had them on their property. Coral snakes we've seen. But yeah, we do herping out there on some of the side roads. We just had a rough green snake down the road here a couple days ago. I like to get out more than what I do now. Just by the time it gets to that time, I'm exhausted, and it's like I just have to. How it is. What if you herp? Once you get out there, you're like, man, I'm glad I got out here. But you have to get to that point and get out there. So it gets
Yeah,
tough when you don't have the time. So.
yeah. So, in all your nationwide road shows and all that stuff, uh, what was you say was your favorite place you ever done a road show?
Oh man, we've done road shows all over. I'm a sucker for out west. I love western states. I love Arizona, New Mexico. Sarah and I have always said if we're going to retire or, go somewhere, Arizona is one of those top choices for us. We just love Arizona. And, for a herper, that's like the
Yeah,
dream area. Texas, West, South Texas, and then Arizona, of course. Um, but on the other side of the country, we went and did a show in Maine, which the area in Maine was absolutely beautiful, where we were. And we weren't far from an area called, oh man, our show was in Bangor, Maine, but we went to a place called Bar Harbor. Well, I would get yelled at saying it that way, but yeah, Bar Harbor. And Sarah and I are into collecting old glass and things like that. So we go look for bottles and stuff, and just being able to do that event in a place where we wanted to visit was probably very fulfilling for us because we got to go there uh, because of the show, but also was able to fulfill that travel dream going to Maine. So that was pretty cool. We went to, I think in Maine, it was called Arcadia National Park, which is the first place the sun touches when it rises here in the United States.
hmm,
So it was pretty cool. And we got to see the sunrise come up, and me, Sarah, a couple other guys traveling on the road. It just was an experience that was pretty awesome. But there are certain states that don't allow alligators in them, so we weren't able to do shows in those states. But we go around them states when we're traveling for the most part. So.
gotcha. So, hmm, uh, what all do you do at your road shows?
So at our road shows, we have different type of packages, different events that we do. We do alligator handling, alligator wrestling, of course. I've been trying to get out of that more so, but recently I found getting back into it more. That's what all these events want, these fairs and festivals. So literally my 3, 4 shows from now till the basically mid-October is all alligator handling, alligator wrestling. We also do exhibits where we just exhibit the alligators, where people come up, we just answer questions. Then we also have a large reptile walkthrough experience, which is basically a traveling zoo and for reptiles. And we exhibit, depending on the state laws, tortoises, turtles, alligator snapping turtles, common snappers, crocodiles, alligators, caimans, non-venomous snakes. We do venomous if the show wants it. We are bonded for that, but most shows don't care to have that, you know, But yeah, we do a lot of different package deals with different type of shows that we put on, and the alligator wrestling, of course, is what we're known for, what I'm known for. So people want to see that in action, and trust me, they're not there to see me win. We'll just keep it at that. They want that alligator to win, but you know, yeah, it's pretty cool. It's been something that we've done for a long time before the show Gator Boys. Then when Gator Boys came out, our road shows got, very busy. And even to this date, my road shows are still, cruising along pretty good. And I have one guy in particular, his name is Brad. He does hypnosis shows and an abracadabra magic show. Amazing guy. He actually helps book our show on the road. When my dad is my booking manager, my dad books a lot of our events, but Brad fills those gaps that we can't fill, which has been a blessing, to us. Because right now, that's how we fund our program. These road shows is how we do that. We travel the country, we do shows, we get paid to be there, we collect donations, we do gator photo opportunities. They get the hands on, we teach them, but that money goes back into food, vet bills, building enclosures, and so on. Getting new animals, like we have to buy alligators off of trappers. It's not free. We have to purchase those animals, and all that money goes into all those different things. And that's how we can fund our program. And basically, I don't want to travel as much. I've been doing it for a long time. That's why this facility is also going to be very good for us because it's going to be able to keep me home for a longer period of time. And, we still will put a crew on the road to do some educational travel shows, but it's something that I don't want to do constantly throughout the year. I like to do maybe 4 to 5 decent shows a year, and just to bring in a little bit more income to help us with the facility and the animals. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Back to your point about people not wanting to see you win. I was working with someone who once said, if everything goes according to plan, it's a good show. When things go terribly wrong, it's a great show.
see, that's it though. You're right. Whoever said that, they're correct. It's
Yeah.
just like what NASCAR. You don't watch NASCAR to see who wins. Keep it at that. That's crazy.
Yeah. So
I can say though, I've won most of the time. I've won most of the time. I've had my failures, you could say, but hey, it's all in the job you pick, man. We catch alligators. You're gonna get bit and hurt. If you're a cook, you're gonna burn yourself. If you're a carpenter, you're gonna hit your finger with that hammer. So there's no
yeah.
doubt about it. So.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, if you still count to 10 on your 2 hands, you're in good shape.
That's right. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. I got that, but that other, I mean, I got scars out in the, but I can still use them, so that's all that matters. So,
So you mentioned you have some venomous stuff that you usually sometimes do shows with. Uh, what's it like? What's it been your experience working with venomous reptiles?
so once again, it dates back to Native Village days. We had a decent snake room there, reptile room that we had. Man, we had all kind of stuff come through that place. We had people that kept animals there. They housed them there until their enclosures were done at home. But we had things from taipans to all different cobra species to mambas to your native wildlife, native snakes, venomous, to gaboons and rhino vipers. So I mean, I was able to work with a big variety of snakes, which was really cool. I'm more into pit vipers. Africa is definitely one of my favorite areas for their snakes. If I ever got to get out there, seeing the gaboon vipers and the puff adders, they're some of my favorite, species that I like to work with. Right now, I've had all of that. Right now, I kind of downsized my venomous snake room just because of not being open to the public. It's all mouths to feed, and right now
Yeah.
it's just costing money. So basically, I just have, if I'm gonna do a reptile show with the venomous snakes, I'm keeping a lot of my native stuff. So I pretty much just have a room full of native venomous right now. Eastern diamondbacks, copperheads, canebrakes. I have a batwing, which is an eastern diamondback mixed with the canebrake rattlesnake. I have him. So just a few different pygmies, coral snakes, just things like that. That's what I have as of now.
Gotcha. So, any big plans in the future other than hopefully opening up the park by the end of the year?
In what aspect? Just anything else big
Reptiles
that
and
I've
wildlife,
reptiles? Acquiring or
anything.
in general?
Yeah, anything.
I mean, trust me, there's definitely some other reptiles that I do want to obtain, crocodilian wise for the facility. But we're working on that, that stuff now. There is not a facility, hang on, what's it called? There is a place here in Ocala called Zip the Canyons. They are a place that does zip lining here in Ocala, Florida, which is absolutely amazing. You get to zip line over big quarries, rock quarries, and people come from all over to do it. They have helped us out tremendously here at the facility with pointing us in the right direction. They dug out the pond for us. They're going to help us with a few other things, but we're looking at actually going to be putting in some alligator enclosures at their facility. We're going to permit their place, I believe, and we're going to go ahead and put alligators on exhibit there, just to give the people waiting to go on the zip lines. You can go mining. You can what do you call those things when you shift like this gems and things like that? They have
Oh,
that.
panning.
Yeah, they're sloughs, I think they're called,
Yeah.
and they have those. So we're just looking at putting some young alligators out there, so people can learn a little bit about them from literature on their enclosures. It's either going to be in the gift shop or somewhere out back, but we're working on that stuff. Hopefully in the near future.
Nice. So, back to the show, Gator Boys.
Uh-huh.
Um, what do you say was your favorite part of working on that show?
I mean, besides, Gator Boys brought a lot of things to the table. I mean, one of the biggest things was, getting to spend, daily, day in, day out with friends. That was cool, and filming and meeting new people. All the production, the network. You get to meet all these interesting people, and like I said, one of the biggest things you get out of a show like that, and a lot of people that, have what you call a little bit of fame. I'm not like The Rock walking down the street, don't get me wrong, but we do get recognized, and being able to do things for definitely kids or adults. I've done a lot of Make-A-Wish stuff, gone to hospitals, things like that, and met the kids. And that's probably one of the most powerful and meaningful things that came about with this show is being able to do stuff like that and fulfill things like that. And, the fact that they want to meet me, I mean, it's like, really? Okay. I'm fine with that, but it just crazy, and these kids, and they look at every day as the best day of their lives, and they're dealing with heartache and terrible things, and they're smiling. You walk in, they're just the happiest go lucky people out there, and that being able to help them and make their day a little brighter has always been a big part of that, which we can give back. So that was pretty cool, definitely, and saving a ton of alligators. That was also a really cool aspect of the show too. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know how much of this you're allowed to talk about, but what is it like working with like a major broadcasting network?
Oh, I mean, we were on Animal Planet, which of course is owned by Discovery. They were great, man. They were great to work for. We had a production company that did all of our stuff, but bottom line, Animal Planet or Discovery was the mothership of Gator Boys, and we had two people that worked with us on a daily basis, Benita and Shannon. They were amazing people, absolutely awesome to be around. And then you had your, higher ups with the network. We did things called upfronts where we went to New York or California to do stuff where it was pretty much promotional for the shows that they had on their networks. So you got to meet a lot of the other show talents that they had. But ultimately, the experiences were pretty good. I mean, don't get me wrong; it's still a business in that aspect. So if they don't like something, it's definitely dealt with. But bottom line, no complaints, man. Animal Planet was really good to us, and um, if I ever decide to do something in the future with a show basis, Animal Planet will probably be one of my first stops to see if they're interested. But if not, I'm not afraid to go shop somewhere else. So,
Yeah. And then final question. What animal, what reptile, other than the American alligator, is your favorite?
oh man, okay, yeah, American alligators are definitely on the top. Like I said, I am a crocodilian fanatic. I'm that type where I could have all species here at Scales, Tails, and Teeth Wildlife Park. I definitely would. But I don't think I'm ever going to get to that caliber. Um, I'm a I love the mugger crocodile. That's just been a species that has always intrigued me. And hopefully one day I'll be able to get hands on with and work with. They're not easy at all to obtain. Uh,
Yeah.
but black caimans are another of my top favorite. And I actually got a chance to have hands on with one at the Phoenix Herp Society in Arizona. Uh, Magical moment, just it was surreal that I was holding a black caiman. But there is a few different species that I would definitely love to work more hands on with and obtain eventually here as an ambassador to their species, which I think would be pretty cool. But mugger crocs and black caimans, those are the two that I think would be that would fulfill that void in my in my life. So
All right. Uh, well, it's been a pleasure to talk to you. It's been really awesome having you on.
well, thank you for having me, and man, anytime if we can do this again.